All right, hey everybody. Hey, I just got back home about 7 o'clock last night from a 3-day trip to Toledo Bend to fish the 34th annual Big Bass Splash presented by Sealy Outdoors. It's the third time I've made it over for the Big Bass Splash at Toledo Bend. And typically this tournament is held in May, but due to the COVID-19, they postponed it until July. So as you can imagine, in South Louisiana, South Texas, it was very hot. We had heat indexes into the 105 to 115 during the course of the 3 days. You know, it's no mystery that during the hottest part of the summer that the oxygen, dissolved oxygen in the water column gets depleted in very shallow water, and bass will tend to migrate out to their summertime haunts at the main lake in deeper water. Going into this big bass splash, because it's not a traditional 5 fish format. You're really fishing for one big fish for the grand prize, but they pay 15 hourly prizes for 7 hours on each day. So there's I think 315 opportunities to make a check in this tournament by virtue of the hourly prize. So there were 1,880 anglers in the 34th annual Sealy Outdoors Big Bass Splash at Toledo Bend. So a lot of people on the water. There's no mystery that folks were heading out deep. One thing about the Big Bass Splash, when you put a lot of anglers on the water, you tend to see where the locals community holes are, because there'll be quite a few boats stacked up in those areas. And it's no secret about the high spots out in the main lake, the Indian Mounds, the mouth of 6 Mile Creek. I think it's Housen Creek, another real big popular one. This year I decided to take a little different approach to the tournament because it was in July, and I rigged my tackle for deep water. And so I started in 6 Mile Creek on the first day. I trailered over to Texas and put my boat in over there. And I idled out, well before daylight. I was sitting on my spot about 30 minutes before the sun came up. But, started up shallow for about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And then I moved out deep. I had tied on the big crankbaits, the 10XD, the 6 Sense version. I think it's a 25-foot diver. I had the 8XD. I had the Rapala DT16, DT14. I had a Carolina rig on. I had football jigs tied on. I had a big football shaky head with an old monster worm tied on. I had a big swim bait, my raw swim baits, swim bait on too. And so I went out deep, and I'll be honest with you, the heat was just oppressive to say the least. But kept at it and really did not have any success whatsoever out deep. I caught a few fish up shallow early on, but they were all small on the first day. I began to question what I was doing out deep. So on the second day, I decided to put in a little closer, still on the Texas side, but right on the causeway over into Texas from the Louisiana side there near Toledo town, and basically idled down the lake, or not idled. I actually ran down the lake before daylight. It's kind of a little humbling when you're out on Toledo Bend and it's pitch black and you're running down the lake with a flashlight shining it off of the navigation buoys. They're lit up pretty well. Didn't have a hard time getting down the lake. Went to the Indian Mounds, and as expected, I'm one of the first ones down there, and as the sun started coming up, a lot of anglers started converging on the Indian Mounds. And I'll show you a picture of the topology from my Lake Master application so you can see that later. But it's typical traditional summertime ledge fishing. So again, I started up shallow, caught a couple small fish, and then worked my way out into the deeper water. I fished deep for the rest of the day, and really just did not capitalize or do anything that gave me any confidence in fishing out deep. And so, you know, on the third day, I was going to regroup. So anyway, on day 3, I decided to change up my game plan. You know, if I can fish for 8 hours out in deep water and catch dinks, well, I can surely do that up in shallow water. So I decided to run back to 6 Mile Creek, where I had launched the boat on the first day over on the Texas side. And when I was putting in, there was a man and his young son that were putting in as well, and we talked for a second. And he told me about the emergent vegetation that was on the backside of the causeway, the bridge that crosses 6 Mile Creek way in the back, and which is very near the boat launch. I decided I had never seen that. I didn't really look at that, you know, on the first day. I didn't even go in there. But so I idled back in there before the sun came up. You know me, first one out there. Idled in using my Humminbirds and Lake Master map chips to kind of navigate through the narrow channel and all the standing timber and stumps, and idled back until I got to a place where I felt like, based on you know, my observations of the map on my Humminbird, that I was in a relatively good spot. So as the sun came up, I started to get a picture of everything that was around me, and man, I tell you what, after seeing this, I wish I had spent my entire 3-day trip back there and started casting. And within 20 minutes, I caught that big fish. I thought it was a little bigger. You know how it is when you catch them and you net them; they look like they're a little bigger than maybe they actually are. And I said it was maybe a 7 or 8 pound fish. The fish ended up weighing 6.48 pounds on the scales at the Big Bass Splash, and I won $800 on the fish. But you know, I caught that fish pretty early in the morning, and I felt like, man, what an opportunity here. If there's one here, there's got to be a couple more, right? And so I really, you know, I contemplated on running back to the weigh-in right then and weighing in the 7 o'clock hour, but decided to just fish it out until I got to a point where I felt like it was either going to be too far of a run to go to, you know, back to Cypress Bend State Park in the boat from 6 Mile Creek, which is probably not that far, probably a 30-minute run. Or do I wait till I put it on the trailer and drive over? Anyway, I fished till 10 o'clock. I caught a couple more small fish, but no more giant. So trip to Toledo Bend was awesome. You know, this is my 3rd shirt from the Big Bass Splash at Toledo Bend. I hope to go back. You know, next year is the 35th anniversary, and Bob Seeley promises to have some extra special things going on the 35th anniversary of the Big Bass Splash at Toledo Bend. I came home with $800. It paid for my trip. Had a great time. Kind of slow getting started. I felt a little bit disappointed in the first 2 days, and really frustrated about not catching any fish out deep. But I learned a lot. You know, sometimes you know, you learn what not to do. Sometimes you learn what to do, and maybe learn something that you can build upon for another trip. So I learned a little bit more about the Indian mounds, about the area, and so forth. So anyway, the video is up next. I actually caught the big fish on my GoPro footage, so I've got the footage. It's a short clip. I was really pumped up. You can tell how excited I was when I netted the fish, and I pulled it up to take a picture of it with the GoPro. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it.
Today's Best Country Kicks 105.
Oh my God, y'all, look at the size of this bass. Ooh, ooh. That's the one I was looking for right there, boys. Easy, 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 easy. Easy, don't get all fouled up, please. This fish will go 7, 8 pounds. Oh, oh yeah. Easy, easy, killer. Please don't jump. Please don't jump. Toledo Bend, son. Look at that giant right there. Look at that. Whew. Shallow water, baby. Shallow water. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know, my on the third day when I went up shallow, my hummingbirds and my new Mega 360 imaging transducer on my Ultrex trolling motor really played a crucial role in the area that I was fishing. I had set up 3 primary baits for the shallow water, and that was my swim bait and a frog, obviously, and also the whopper plopper. The bank was relatively a little deeper than maybe some other places I fish where it's maybe a foot or less. It was like 4 or 5 feet deep, almost all the way up to the bank. But the Mega 360, and I posted an image out on my Facebook page already, the 360 helped me see some underwater grass that was not visible from the surface. And it stretched out from the bank probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 feet. And but it did not top out. You couldn't see it. At first glance, you'd have never known it was there. And so when I noticed that, and out from there was about 6 or 8 feet of water, you know, got some deep water close by. You know, that's a big key factor with big fish and shallow water in the summertime. Got to have deep water close by. I noticed that grass was submerged, and so my idea was to go down the bank and fish the tops of that grass with the whopper plopper and the other baits I mentioned. But one thing is, when the water column is 3 or 4 feet and a bait comes over top of an active fish, especially a big largemouth that's aggressive predator fish, they almost always instinctively strike, and that was the case here. And so it was a pretty impressive hit and a couple of head shakes, and then I netted it and put it in the boat. Hey, just a couple of tips on finding you know, big fish in shallow water. Now, you may not be able to find 5 fish in shallow water in the summer day to win a tournament, but I guarantee you that on any given day, and I don't care what month it is, June, July, August, hottest months, you know, historically on these lakes in the South, water temperatures in the 90s. You can catch fish shallow. Need a couple of things. You got to have some structure for them to relate to. That might be emergent vegetation. Makes a canopy over top of, makes some shade. You know, you like to get under the umbrella on a summer day out by the pool. Well, a big largemouth is no different. They want to hide in that shade, and it's a little cooler under there as well. Might be some wood. You know, could be a ledge of some sort, and it doesn't have to be a big ledge. It can be 2 to 3 feet drop off, but you want to have you also need some flushing characteristics of the shallow water you're in. Bass will rarely set up in a stagnant cove with no flushing and no flow coming through it. They got to have some current, some movement of the water through that area for them to be resonant and stay in those kind of areas, you know, frequently. So anyway, go check it out. Look for structure, look for flushing, look for deep water close by, and you can catch bass in the summertime, giant bass in the summertime. You know, another really key part of, you know, catching some big fish in particular is your equipment. And you know, I fish with FX custom rods. It's no secret about that. I'm sure most people, matter of fact, people I've met on the lake that I don't really know personally, they follow me on Facebook or Instagram or my YouTube channel. They say, "Oh, you're the FX guy." And I was like, "Wow, I never really thought about it that way, but I guess I do post a lot about it. But I post about them because I really truly believe that it's a great product, and we have one of the best rods in the industry on the market today. Super light, super strong. You know, I couldn't fish all day throwing a 10XD crankbait or the Whopper Plopper, those big heavy plugs all day with a heavy broomstick that's tip heavy. These FX Custom rods are super light, super balanced, and they're extremely strong. Anyway, shout out to FX Custom Rods. If you hadn't been out there and checked them out, go to www.fxcustomrods.com. Check them out. Find us on Facebook, and you shouldn't have any trouble finding that. So anyway, go check them out. All right, I'm at the Big Bass Splash here in the parking lot. Got about a 6 1/4 in the live well. It makes me a couple $100 here. Got some boats weighing in. All right, got old big boy in here. Whoo, son, it's hot. It is hot out here. Just for the record, this is my first chance in 4 Big Bass Splash tournaments to bring a good fish to the scale. 3rd time at Toledo Bend. I should have been shallow for 3 days. I should have never listened to everybody else. We get some water. Whew. Get a little air in this thing for him. Whew.
What am I doing?
Fine with the GoPro. Probably just hot little beat. You with me?
Yep.
All right. All right, good. I give this to Miss Courtney, you said? My ID too? Put that back?
You'll need your fishing license when you get to that table over there.
All right. You gotta have a fishing license?
If you don't have one, you ain't gonna get no money. We're gonna take your bid.
All right. Hey, you take a picture with my cell phone too? Sure. Where's Courtney? Come on. Hey!
Hey!
All the way from Mobile, Alabama. Just to fish.
Roll
water.
tide, roll
With
tide.
all the water too.
Way to water.
Thank you for coming.
You ain't never heard that, I know. This is my 3rd trip over here.
Glad to have you.
Just see you know how to do it. There you go. Whew. You want to hold that?
All right, John.
All right, let's see what it weighs. 6.24.
Well, you made it
It's
good.
alive.
Made it mad. Made it mad.
Whoa, I was light.
648. Good fish.
648.
John. Good
Awesome. Kate, can I get a picture with that fish?
Yeah, here, let me see the
Do I need that, Courtney?
fish. No, sir, not right this second. Let's take that picture.
Just a real quick.
You've been sitting to him all day. You've been doing a good job.
All right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care of it. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Yes, sir. All right, all right.